On your knees. I always want to say that as well. So you can say seated, it's okay. Is anyone Jewish here? Yeah. Baruch Hashem. I mean, whatever that means, I don't speak French. It sounds good, doesn't it? Nervous? Yeah. You nervous? Yeah. You should be. Because you don't laugh at my jokes, you're going to get accused of being anti-Semitic. And if you don't laugh at the imam's jokes, you're going to get accused of being Islamophobic. And if you don't laugh at the vicar's jokes, then you're going to get accused of being... Oh God, what are you going to get accused of being? Don't worry, God will forgive you. I'll forgive you, don't worry. And in fact, she's very, very funny. You will laugh at her. She's fantastic. So in case you're wondering whether I was the rabbi or the vicar or the imam, I am in fact actually the rabbi. It really is the suit that gives it away, doesn't it? It's standard issue. It comes in any colour you like as long as it's rabbinic black. And I actually wear it all the time. I wear it the whole time, every single day, morning and night. I even wear it for the gardening. I even wear it when I'm on the beach. I even wear it when I'm in bed. There's only one time of year when my family and I, when we go on our summer holidays, it was once a year. Yeah, rabbis get holidays as well. Don't tell my community. They actually encourage me to go. They say, go, have as long as you like. Yeah, go, come back. Once a year when I change out of the suit and into a pair of chinos, and if I'm feeling really daring, into a blue shirt, I know, shocker, my kids will look at me and they'll say, Daddy, why do you look so weird? Are you not well? And it is, in fact, great. It's great to see so many. If I could, it would be great to see so many familiar faces in here tonight. I mean, it's absolutely blinding up here. Is anyone out there? Yes. You look great, people. You look lovely tonight. You all look lovely. Oh, yeah, I can see some of you now. No, put it down. They don't look so great. Put it down. It's lovely to see so many familiar faces here. Particularly lovely to see my parents here this evening. You must be so proud. All that money you wasted, spent on my education, and here I've made it. Well, you could have been having so many more cruises. And it's also lovely. It's also lovely to see my beautiful wife here as well. The ugly one couldn't make it. I'm only kidding. There is no ugly one. My children here also. Thanks, Cynthia, for introducing me to those lovely words you chose. Strike it from your memory. You okay, guys? You okay? Yeah, come see Daddy make a fool of himself. Yeah. I can see they're going like, Daddy, it's so embarrassing. Now, for those of you who don't know me so well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Alex Chapper, or Alexander James, as my own mother calls me. And I'm Jewish, which some say is an advantage for being a rabbi, but I'm not convinced. And I was at once, believe it or not, the youngest rabbi in the UK. 4 years old, I know, child genius, I know what you're thinking. But I have aged rapidly since then. And I grew up in a traditional northwest London Jewish home. We lived within walking distance of Brent Cross. We never walked there. Thank God we didn't have to. But it was a perfect location because my mother is very religious, a very religious shopper. She lives by the principle that if something's 25% off, then that's a mitzvah. You know what that means? It's a Yiddish word meaning it's a bargain. And if it's 50% off, if it's half price, well, that's a mitzvah. It would be wrong not to buy it. And for the last 12 years, I've been the rabbi in Gantsill in Ilford. So embarrassing. For those who live in northwest London, Ilford is in Essex. And Essex is just like northwest London, except we don't have Brent Cross. We do actually have Westfield. That's fantastic. What a great way to do it. Well, my wife and I, we have 5 sons. From people, the really richest people are saying Kanina Hara, whatever that means, I don't know. Something about the evil eye or something, I'm not sure. The others, you're thinking, what a Meshuggah, and you're right. And my wife and I, we struggle to think of names for all of our sons. So what we just call them the lawyer, the doctor, the rabbi, the accountant, the businessman, and that's just Moishi, the oldest. As I say, I'm a rabbi. I'm a rabbi in Ilford. It's a wonderful community. I have to say that because a lot of them are here tonight. And just like any other Jewish community, our synagogue every Saturday, every Shabbat, we have a service, and after the service we have a kiddush. And for those who are not familiar what a kiddush is, that's just like a reception, but with some serious elbows going on. I mean, it's quite vicious. I mean, Jewish people aren't typically known as killers, but if you get in their way of a fishbowl and a Danish, and not to mention a herring, God should help you, because you really take your life in your own hands. And I remember in the shul in which I grew up when I was a young boy, I remember every week there would be these elderly women, and they would be strategically placed at the Kiddush table, and as soon as they were allowed to, although they were riddled with arthritis, literally riddled and bent over like that. As soon as they were allowed to, they were able to scoop all the biscuits straight off the plate into their handbags with like Olympic ease. It was unbelievable. Now tonight I want to prove to you that God himself has a sense of humour. And it's quite simple. Because God asks us Jewish people to form communities. He expects us to live together, to get on with each other and not kill each other. And the truth is we're not actually designed for it. Because we're argumentative, we are fractious, we can't agree on anything. If you think I'm wrong, I'm not. You are. Now, I love being a rabbi. No, I really do. But one of the things I find the most challenging about being a rabbi is that I always have to be well behaved. And I always have to be mature. I may not be able to see you. I know who you are. That's another 5 minutes onto my sermon this week. Keep going, it'll be another 5. So I always have to be well behaved and act maturely in informal settings. And I find that really difficult because people expect a rabbi to be solemn and to be serious and to be reverential. And there are times, and they're often at the most inappropriate times, when I just want to shout, blah! My kids love it. When I get home, they're like, yay, Daddy's home! Fun, Daddy's home! We can jump on, we bounce off the walls together. It's absolutely amazing. But being a rabbi also means... being a rabbi also means I have to have endless patience and be tolerant of everyone and pretend to care. Even with some people, and every community has it, that person who can be a right royal pain in the tuchus. And they're the type of person, they seem to have a radar. They seem to be able to hone in on me with laser-guided precision. They come up to me, they corner me, one person cornering another person. I don't know how they do it, like these wings, like this. And they're cornering me, and they're desperate to tell me this piece of information that they think is the most important thing in the world. And it's basically, they want to tell me about their wife's aunt 3 times removed, and about her persistent verruca, and how it's, she's had it for so long and now it's gone septic, and they want to show me the pictures of it. And I'm like, wow, I'm really sorry to hear that. I'm really sorry. And I'm like, honey, you better take the kids home, I'll be home in about the next 6 hours or so. And these people, they just monopolize my time and attention. They've got absolutely no awareness whatsoever that there may be some other people who might just need to have a little word with the rabbi. And that's really why, you may have heard of that principle, of the 80-20 principle. You spend 80% of your time doing 20% of the things. Well, this is more like the 99%, 1% principle. They absolutely monopolize your time. And really, on the first day of rabbi school, they should teach us evasion tactics for weirdos. And if that's not enough, I also have to contend with remembering every person's name who I've ever met in my entire life. Whether it was someone I was briefly introduced to once at a buffet 3.5 years ago, I have to remember their name because it can just happen, and it always happens, that I'm in the most random place, minding my own business, and someone will come up to me and say, "Hi, Rabbi, how are you?" And I'm like, "Hi, how are you?" What I'm really thinking is, who the hell are you? And I'm rapidly going through my contacts in my head, thinking, where did I meet them? Was it the Cohen Briss in Stanmore? Or was it the Goldstein Bar Mitzvah in Finchley? And as I'm thinking through all of this, bam, they hit me with a killer blow knockout question. And they said to me, "Rabbi, do you remember my name?" And this is where absolute blind panic kicks in, and I start sweating in unrabbinic places. And I'm like, yeah, of course, yeah, aren't you, yeah, remind me, what's your name again? And they're like, it's Howard, your brother-in-law. Of course, Howard, how are you? Now, I learned very early on that a rabbi has to stay calm in an emergency. Now, I learned this when I once went for a tryout at a synagogue. And it was all going very well, I was making a good impression, I was very well behaved, and I was halfway through my sermon, and it was a good one. I'd actually written it myself. That was in the days before you go online and download them, www.don'tboreasrigidplease.com. And I was in full flow. And all of a sudden I became aware in the ladies' gallery there was a bit of a commotion going on. The women were fussing around, they were calling down to a doctor, can someone help? Apparently it turns out that a woman had passed out during my sermon. I mean, how rude. I mean, it was either bad timing or just very selfish. And I carry on talking, obviously, like a professional I am. I just keep going, the show must go on. And I'm talking, but the truth is, no one is listening to a word I am saying from this point onwards. They're far too busy watching what's going on. Apparently, a paramedic is more interesting than me. Shocking, I know. But the good news is, Baruch Hashem, she's well, thank God she's okay. And apparently it turns out I actually seem to have that effect on women of a certain age. Because it seems to keep happening. Mrs. Cohen, Mrs. Finkeltoe, Mrs. Feiner. But the good news is, if they'd heard what I actually was going to say, if they actually listened to what I was saying, I don't think I would have a job today. So that's good news. Now, it's not an easy time at the moment for Jews and Muslims. But there has been a little bit of good news recently. A study was published just recently, I don't know if you heard about this, it's absolutely true. A study was published recently that showed that eating pork and bacon causes cancer. Did you hear about this? Yeah? No, this is true. Yeah. Now you are something, yeah, aren't you? I'll still come to visit, don't worry. I'll do a lovely lavoya as well. So anyway, when I heard that news, I've got to tell you, I was so excited. The imam and I were high-fiving backstage. The poor vicar nearly spat out her bacon sandwich. And now she vowed only to eat fish balls from now on. Now, I'm conscious of the time. I don't want to be on this stage too long, in case I get accused of trying to occupy it. You've been great, thank you so much. Good night.